I'm not gonna lie, I was cold. I used to be cold, bro. Hi, it's your boy Michal Antoine Jr., cornerback at Florida Atlantic University, and I'm here to tell my story. So originally, I was born in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. If y'all know where that's at, man, y'all know that was the trenches, man. 4501 Northwest 36th Street, y'all know that was the trenches for real. That's what raised me, that's what brought me in, that's what made me into the man I am today. Growing up in Lakes, man, it was real. It was hard, but it taught you how to survive, man. I had two older brothers, one older sister. My older brothers, I can say them was the ones that really taught me how to be a man. My dad showed me how to be a man, but they taught me how to be a man when it came to fighting, because I used to fight a lot for them, no matter who it was. When it came to playing ball, my oldest brother, I can say that was probably my second dad. His name Fred. Man, he put me in football when I was 5 years old, and I never looked back, man. He treated me like he was my coach. Every day after practice, came to every practice, came to every game while he was young and working his damn self. So I mean, I really appreciate him. My second oldest, he made it to every game now and then. He was busy working and all that. So, but he showed support in every way he could too. And yeah, my parents, bro, my parents are definitely big positives in my life, man. Without them, I can honestly say that's another pair that I wouldn't be in this situation without them. My mom motivates me to a certain standard that nobody could meet. Like, she expects so much out of me. Like, I told her I was gonna work one time, and she was like, no, you're not working. Focus on football, focus on school. That's the goal. And she looks out for me in so many ways. Like, she can have her last penny, but you wouldn't even know, and she'll be so quick to give it up. Without her, man, like, that's another person that just motivates me to get to where I need to get to. Just having the chance to tell her, you can retire, like, you can retire. Put your 2 weeks notice in. You don't need to work no more. I got you. Like, it's just something that I need to do, whether it's football or whether it's something else. Like my shirt says, like, I'm more than an athlete. I'm more than an athlete. If you want me to be honest, I don't let football determine who I will be. At the end of the day, I'll be successful with or without football. And whether it's football or not, being able to tell my mom she can retire, I'll be grateful, man. My dad, on the other hand, man, he's a great dude too. Tough. Literally, that's where I get my dog from. One of the toughest souls a person will meet. Looks so scary, but so kind. That's where I get my dog. That's where I get my dog from. That's exactly where I get my dog from, man. He motivates me in many ways too. He motivates me to be the man I need to be, to stay accountable, to stay respectful, to get priorities done and get the job done. Yeah, man. So I started playing football when I was 5. I played under Coach BJ probably my entire life. And then after like 13U, I moved up a pound, and that was probably the first time I moved away from Coach BJ. But probably about like 8U, 9U, we had probably one of the most legendary teams out here. We had Kenny McIntosh, we had Zay Flowers, we had Josh, we had me. Man, we had a lot of notable players on that team that's real successful now and playing at a high level. So I mean, that year we did win the Super Bowl. It was great. I still got my Super Bowl ring. So once we pushed past that, man, I got to about 13U. I started to really get into the mindset where I needed to expand my horizon. So I decided to play basketball. So about the 6th grade, I decided to play in something called LLBA. It's like a little community rec basketball. My brother put me in it, and man, it just helped me grow too. So I went from playing basketball one year to football the next year, and it all just started to come together, man. So eventually, that started to become part of my lifestyle, being a 2-sport athlete. So going into middle school, I went to Lauderdale Lakes Middle. If y'all from Lauderdale, y'all know Lauderdale Lakes Middle was one of the top schools when it came to playing sports. Who went to Lauderdale Lakes Middle? Y'all know Sean Shivers, Fax, Deshaun, man. I can honestly say my 7th grade year, we went 14-0 in basketball. Marcus Dumerville, our banner probably still in the basketball gym. So yeah, so we ended up winning our championship that year. Them boys went on to be real successful in high school. My 8th grade year, we ended up losing, and that was it for me. But that, and in middle school, man, middle school taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about girls. It taught me a lot about managing time, and it taught me a lot about accountability. Such as, like, in middle school, I ended up playing flag, I ended up doing track, I played basketball, I did volleyball, I did every sport I can try to play. Just to become that athlete and that person that people looked up to say that he can play anything and still be on his educational route. Middle school, I don't think I ever went lower than a 2.8. One thing about me, I've always been serious about education, man. I never had a problem when it came to grades. I never had a problem when it came to playing on a team. Education has been something my parents endowed in me since I was a kid, man. So when it came to education, that's something nobody had to worry about. Playing ball at Somerset, man, I'm not gonna lie, I was cold in ball. Playing basketball, I'm not gonna lie, I was cold. I used to be cold, bro. I used to dunk, I probably caught 5 bodies playing high school basketball. It got to a point where me and my boy Anadi legit, shout out to him. That boy's cold too. Nadia legit, shout out to that boy. It got to a point where me and him used to go at it, at who would get the most dunks. Not to forget, shout out to that boy Scotty Barnes. You know, he doing his thing in his league. But I went viral on Scotty Barnes a couple times. I dunked on him. I dunked on him when we played against U School. I went into that game with the mindset listen, I'm dunking on somebody, whether it was Vernon, Carey, or Scotty Barnes. I went into the mindset, I'm dunking on one. If I can't get both of them, I was dunking on one of them. Shout out to them boys though. But yeah, bro, in high school, man, if I wasn't playing football, I probably would have been at some D1 school playing basketball, bro. I was cold. I was cold in that basketball shit. Come high school, man. High school was really a really big experience for me. It was real big. I ended up going to a school called Somerset Prep, North Lauderdale. It was a preparatory school, so I ended up going there to play basketball with 4 of my other friends. So we ended up playing basketball there and blowing the school up. We ended up taking the school to states for the first time in school history. We ended up losing, but it was a huge step. We ended up having kids from different schools starting to come into the school and expand the whole horizon. It just felt good to put such a small school on the map just like that. I played under Coach Hay and Coach T, 2 great coaches, man, that still is mentors to me till this day, man. Come high school, I ended up playing travel basketball too. Travel basketball is something that really had me see the world. This is when I started to actually go from different places. So we talk about Atlanta, Orlando, Vegas, New York. We went everywhere, and we was winning. We was real good, man. We was winning, and it felt good to win. And I played under my two uncles, Uncle Cliff and Uncle Matt, and my aunt, Auntie Melly, which are three great people that really made me into the person I am today. Without them, I definitely wouldn't be here, man. To this day, they motivate me in ways you guys can't imagine, though. So I went to Somerset Prep Academy, but Somerset Prep Academy didn't have a football team. So right after school, I'll have to drive all the way to Boyd Anderson, which is probably like 7 miles from Somerset. I'll have to drive straight to Boyd Anderson and play for BA's football team, which that was every day too. So I had to do that every day. But it wasn't too bad though, being the fact that Boyd Anderson was right by my house. So I had to drive from Somerset to Boyd Anderson, have practice there, and then do it the next day. But playing at Boyd Anderson, man, that was a great experience too. My JV year, I really blew. Probably my second game I played against St. Thomas. I had a real good game. I had the varsity coaches watching me, and I made some real big plays. So that next day, I ended up moving up to varsity. Didn't play a snap. I didn't play a snap at varsity. So, I mean, they moved me up to varsity not to play me. So I felt some type of way about it. But I stayed loyal to the team, and I stuck there another year. So that next year, I was still at Somerset, and I had to do the same thing. Leave Somerset after school and drive all the way back to Boyd Anderson. And that year, they didn't play me as much as I felt like I was supposed to play, being the fact that I felt like I was better than the players that was on the field. I felt like I worked harder than them. They didn't play me as much. So I ended up making the decision that was best for me. I ended up leaving Somerset Prep Academy, stopped playing for Boyd Anderson, and I ended up taking my talents to Cardinal Gibbons High School, which is close to Fort Lauderdale. And I can honestly say that was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, thanks to Coach Walt. Probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. So my junior year, I had a great season, man. Started my 2 games. By the second game, I was starting for the whole season. We went to states. I got a big ring, and by the end of the year, I racked up at least 20 Division I offers, which was crazy. My first offer was probably from, I can remember to this day, my first offer was from Kentucky. I almost cried when I got it. Just to have that feeling that your parents don't have to pay for school. It melted me inside, man. Knowing that my parents would not have to pay for school, I was lost for words. So my first offer was Kentucky. My next one was Louisville. My next one was Boston College. I remember my first 3. But my dream school was always UCF. So as time goes on, I go into my senior year, and I'm captain on the team. I'm a leader on the team. I'm starting. Everybody's looking up to me to play that role as a captain. So every game I did play that role as a captain. So we ended up going to the second round, and we ended up losing to Miami Booker T. Great game, great players. It was just a great game, man. So, I mean, I ended up probably after that season, I ended up stacking probably 5 more offers. And my very, very, very last offer was University of Central Florida. But at that point, it was kind of too late, man. So I ended up taking my 5 visits. I went to Pittsburgh, I went to FIU, I went to FAU, I went to Iowa State, I went to UCF. So by the time UCF had offered me, I already had my mind set on Iowa State. But I still decided to take that official visit to UCF to see if I would end up flipping and changing my mind. So by the time I took that visit to UCF and I stuck around the coaches and I stuck around the players, I just didn't feel like they really wanted me to play there. I felt like they wanted me to be an extra body, just in case somebody went down, okay, he's here. Like, they wasn't giving me the feeling as if, all right, we need you here. Like, you will play a big part in this system. So I ended up not committing there and sticking with my decision to play at Iowa State. And I can honestly say it was a great experience going to Iowa State. My first semester there, it was my COVID year. COVID really was real negative, but I can honestly say for our season, it was real beneficial. COVID forced us to really lock into what was at stake. It forced us to not party, to not hang out with people outside of football, to really pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings, man. You couldn't do anything if it wasn't football. We was up at 6:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. And with that being said, we went to go on to a Big 12 championship. We ended up losing to Oklahoma by, I think, a point. And we went to New Year's Six Bowl to play Oregon. Probably one of the best New Year's Six Bowls I've ever watched and I've actually participated in. But my freshman year, I didn't play as much, man. I didn't expect to play as much. Even though I played, I felt like I was real good at my craft. I didn't expect to play that much. I really locked into the seniors. When it came to Anthony Johnson, when it came to Datron Young, Greg Einsworth, I really locked into them and watched their role on the team and really tried to pay attention on how they perfect their craft. So come my sophomore year, I go through spring and I go through another season and I end up not playing again. And at this point, I was just confused. It was getting to a point where I felt like, as I told the coaches, like I just wasn't loved there anymore. I would be in a facility, man. I just didn't feel like being there. I didn't feel like talking to anybody. Nobody talked to me. I didn't feel like talking to the coaches. The coaches didn't talk to me. And it just got to a point where I just started to become real depressed, and I started to hate the game of football, man. And that's what really forced me and told me I had to leave. When I started to hate the game of football, I've been playing football since I was 5, never hated it a day in my life. But when it came to that particular day, when I was just walking on the second floor and I didn't want to be there anymore, I knew it was time to find a new home. So I ended up getting in the transfer portal and coming to Florida Atlantic University, which was one of the best decisions I ever made, man. Probably one of the best decisions I ever made. I came to Florida Atlantic University, played under Coach Willie Taggart, and played under my position coach, Brandon Harris. Great coach. Brandon Harris is such a great coach, man. He's been recruiting me since my senior year of high school. And I'm happy I got the chance to play under him. He's such a great coach. But yeah, I played about 350 snaps last year. No deep balls caught on me, no pass interference penalties caught on me. I made some big plays here. I made a name for myself here, and it was just a great experience, man. Like, I just grew. When it came to growing, I grew as a man, I grew as a player, and that's what really made me who I am now. And just to have the chance for my family to come watch me play every single game is just a blessing. For my nephew to sit in these stands and watch his uncle on that field is just a blessing, man. So now I'm just waiting on my second year at Florida Atlantic University to have that breakout season, man, and to shut everybody up and to be what everybody said I couldn't be. And for kids that's coming out of Broward County that don't got it, that don't think they have it, that don't think they'll ever have the opportunity, that don't think they're good enough, man, listen, take that chance, take that leap of faith, because you will never know if you never take that chance, man. Take that opportunity. Don't be scared, because the same people that said we couldn't do it, the same people that said I couldn't do it, I'm doing it, and you could do it too. Don't be scared, bro. It's always gonna be that person that's gonna say you can't do it, that you're not capable of doing it, that you're not worthy of doing it. But it's up to you to go out and show him who you really is, what type of dog you really is. So go out and do it. Go out and take that leap of faith. Go out and show all them haters that said you couldn't do it, that you're doing it. It's your boy Michal Antoine Jr., cornerback at Florida Atlantic University, and thank you for tuning in for my documentary of Chop It Up.